Hello and welcome to the Beer Rep Chats With. Today I'm joined by Oli Hurlow from Attic Brew Co based in Birmingham. Oli, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi Martin, thanks for having me.
Not a problem, it's great to have you on. So for anyone who doesn't really know about Attic Brewery and about yourself, can you tell us a bit about the brewery and how it came to life and what inspired you to start the brewery?
Yeah, sure. So we've been going about 6.5 years now. We are based in South Birmingham, and we came about. There's two of us that run the brewery. Myself and my partner Sam. So we met at a university in Cardiff. He was brewing beer, and we lived together. He was brewing beer in his bedroom, cheap beer, sort of a kind of a bit of a classic origin story, I think.
Extract kit.
Yeah, extract kit, bucket in his bedroom. Beer wasn't very good, but it was fun. Did the trick, sort of thing. And then
It was cheap and drinkable.
Yeah, exactly. It had the right effect. But fast forward then a couple of years, and we finished uni. Everyone had sort of gone our separate ways, but as a house, we were still good mates, and we used to meet up every now and again. And Sam had just sort of taken that hobby and become a bit more serious about it. He had he converted his attic into a sort of little home brewery. Was getting much more into it. And one day we had a meet up, and he said, I want to start a brewery. I need somebody to do it with. Do you want to do it with me? And I sort of was stupid enough to shrug my shoulders and say, yeah, why not? I've had a bit of a shit week at work, and I'll let's give it a go. Why not? And then that sort of led us to here. So we kind of, Sam had actually been, unbeknownst to me, had been sort of buying up old bits of brewery equipment and was storing it in a garage. And so we had a fair bit already going. We managed to find a unit quite quickly, where we still are today, and that's went from there. But we had, the brewery when we started was, older than the two of us put together. I think we were brewing about 800 litres a week, which we thought was loads. And it, just sort of snowballed from there, really.
So I'm guessing that the name Attic came from you brewing beer in your attic.
Yes, we're not the most imaginative people.
Well, it's a name, and most of the best names are from the simplest of reasons.
Yeah, we still get people sort of walk into the tap room now, even now, and sort of be a bit disappointed that they haven't got to go up the stairs or up the loft ladder to get to the tap room. We don't brew in an attic anymore. But for anyone out there that's considering brewing in an attic, don't. It's a stupid place to brew. You've got to carry heavy stuff up the rickety ladder, brew in either freezing cold or boiling heat, and then carry the finished product, which is even heavier, back down so you can drink it. So it's a terrible place. Don't do it.
When did you start brewing beer and realise, we can actually sell this?
So I mean, I'll have to admit, I'm not the brewing brains at all. Never have been. Sam very much started off as that was kind of his hobby, and I was kind of almost along for the ride on the beer front of the beer side of things. I've always been more sort of sales, marketing, all the fluffy stuff. I would describe it as. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a case of before we'd even talked about the brewery, we would, Sam would bring some, he'd keg the beer and bring it along to a sort of weekend away or something like that, and we'd all be sort of saying, genuinely meaning it was really, really good beer. I think on a homebrew level, it's so difficult to do hoppy pales and do them well. And I think that led us to when we started, because that was mostly what Sam was brewing at the time, was kind of wheat beers, Belgians, and we kind of thought, here's our niche in the market. We're going to be a Belgian and saison brewery, and that's going to be our sort of that's going to be our USP. And we quickly opened the tap room and realised that not that many people want to drink that. Everyone wants to drink a pale ale, so we kind of quite rapidly transitioned, but happily, once you're on a bit more of a commercial scale, it becomes a bit easier to control the factors that stop a home brewer being able to brew pale ale.
You're based in Birmingham. It's quite a big growing beer scene at the moment. How has being based there influenced your journey and your style?
Massively, I'd say. So, I mean, Birmingham. We set up in. I'm not a Brummie, not natively. I grew up down south, but Sam is local, and that was very much sort of part of why we wanted to open the brewery. Full stop is that we saw a good opportunity in Birmingham. Um, I mean, since before we started, there's been some really really good beers being brewed in the city, but everybody was quite small scale, and we kind of thought, well, there's an opportunity there to really kind of get a bit bigger and to sell beer, make it freely available to the people of Birmingham. Which so that's kind of always been our, and certainly until now has always been our kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it easy for people in Birmingham to drink local beer. Which, if you go to most other major cities in the UK, there's loads of breweries, there's loads of beer, like locally brewed beer available. If you want it, you can get it. And at the time when we set up in 2018, it just wasn't the case in Birmingham. There's some great bars, there's some great beer being brewed, but
Yeah,
it didn't quite mesh properly.
yeah, it was a bit hard to find local beer in like your local pubs and things like that.
Exactly, and I think that it's for a load of different reasons. I think we are in where the city is sort of heartland old family brewer. So there's still 150 Mitchells and Butlers pubs, which are very very difficult to get beer into, and that's in just within the within Birmingham itself, within Birmingham proper. It just means that it kind of limits the number of lines that you have available. So it definitely has influenced the kind of beers that we've brewed. We wanted our beers to be accessible to people that maybe haven't been introduced to craft beer, to independent beer before, because they haven't had it available. So we've certainly wanted to make things accessible. We've tried to focus a lot on our local market, focus a lot on getting beers into pubs that otherwise wouldn't serve sort of hazy beer or something similar.
Yeah,
And to a certain extent, I think we've been pretty successful at that. I think we've done a really good job at growing the understanding of beer and sort of like getting people to know about us and about the kind of beers we brew, and getting beer into pubs that otherwise maybe wouldn't have had sort of craft beer on previously.
yeah, definitely. So obviously, so what would you say has been your most popular beer to date, and which one are you most proud of?
The answer to both of those, I think, is certainly Intuition. That's our flagship sort of pale ale, 4.4% pale ale. It took us a while to get to the recipe. When we first started, we were brewing a different beer every week. Really kind of just experimenting, finding our feet. We were making some good beers, some not so good beers, and just really working our way around it. And now, sort of where we are now, we kind of know a bit more what we're doing now. Intuition came in about 2020, I think, so partway through lockdown, and it just immediately, as soon as we released it, it was an instant hit, and we kind of thought, well, this is the first core beer that we want to commit to. And then we were able to say to trade customers, yeah, we're always going to have this in stock. We're backing this beer. This is going to be the one that the people are going to know us for.
Yeah, you do quite a lot of cask ale as well. Can you tell us a bit? Was the cask always available when you started up as a brewery, or did you gradually bring that in down the years, further down the line?
No, that was we've only been doing that for the last couple of years. We we've always loved drinking cask beer, but I think that originally it was, certainly when we first started, keg beer was well kind of what everybody wanted to drink from smaller breweries. That was the in thing, I suppose. And whilst we couldn't brew enough beer, it made sense. Cask came in sort of when we were wanting to push outside of Birmingham a little bit and a bit more rural, and then that sort of tends to be when people want pubs that wanted to take on cask beer rather than anything on keg. And so that kind of has helped us to grow a little bit further beyond Birmingham, and also was a good excuse for us to drink what is probably right. Well, that's probably the serving style of beer that I will generally go for.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going somewhere and there's a good cask selection on, I'll go straight for the cask rather than the keg.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how everyone's tastes change, because I think most people seem to have gone on a similar journey as I have, where you kind of I came up on cask and I was drinking bitter. I've always preferred to drink sort of like, or whatever local beer is on wherever you go, and that was usually a cask. Then you kind of like go, like, oh wow, what's this new new type of beer, like hazy pales, that sort of thing. That's great. I'm absolutely loving this. And then you kind of almost come full circle, and cask is cool again. And I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is just me being hopeful, but I feel like us in the industry are maybe a little bit more attuned to it than the general public. But I feel like they probably will get here as well. Is that it will come back round. It will become a cool thing again. And everybody's been talking about how to make cask relevant and keep it cool and everything. And I think it's doing that of its own accord almost.
You've been supporting the Indie Beer UK campaign. Why is promoting independent breweries so important to you?
Because I think that, well, obviously it's important to us because we are one, which is the short answer. But in terms of a broader answer, I think it's what actually customers want. I think people want to know that they're supporting people that they would like to support. They don't. I think that people don't really want to support big corporates. They want to see that they're supporting, somebody that is giving it a go. I think certainly in Britain there's a real big sort of sentiment that you like to support the underdog, the little guy, and what's local as well. And I think that that's something that indie beer really has as a very powerful message. And it's the sort of thing that you get big brewers that co-opt it, and they'll put a man with a flat cap on the front of Madry and try and sort of fool people into thinking, not by saying anything outright, but just by looking at it, you think, oh, that's kind of what I think I want to drink, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
And I think that it's just sort of really important to be able to label what is actually independent, what people actually are looking to drink, and what's not. And that's why we kind of have really got behind the indie beer campaign, because we think that it's a great thing to be talking about.
yeah, it's to the point, and it's it makes a lot of things clearer to customers and consumers of what is an independent beer. You're doing a beer trial, is that right, for the indie beer campaign, for Indie Beer Week? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so it starts on the 14th of April. So 14th to the 20th of April. We've got, this is like a bit more than 50 venues in and around Birmingham that are serving our beer and other independent beer as well. And we're basically saying, well, we'll go to any of the venues, pick up a guide, and then they'll stamp every one of our beers you buy, or you go to one place, you buy a beer and you get a stamp, and then you can move on to the next one, get another stamp. And when you've got 6 stamps, then you'll get a badge to sort of show that you've completed it. It's something that we've been kind of toying with for ages, because I like it, because obviously it promotes us, but also it's a really good way of showing customers that might usually drink our beer in one place, oh, look at all these other places that are actually serving interesting beer. Go
Yeah,
and check them out. And it kind of, I think it gives a real boost to our customers as well, which I really like that sort of, it kind of helps to build the community around Birmingham, and helps to sort of, ultimately our goal is to try and build that community, to build Birmingham as a great place to come and drink, whether that's the local people or sort of people coming in. So it's kind of a way of showing anybody who's doing the trail, here are all this list of places that you can come and try great beer, and go out and try them.
Yeah, it's a great thing for for the pubs to show that they're supporting independent breweries, and if you want a good tasting independent beer, then this is the venue to come to find it.
This is what we kind of liked about this independent beer, the indie beer campaign is. I think it's less about it's certainly about raising awareness. I think it's more about raising awareness about what is independent, what isn't. I think, like I say, I think that the desire to drink independent beer is already there. I don't think we're trying to really persuade people about why that's good. I think that a lot of people already think that. I think that movement is already going. I think it's more just a case of trying to display what is independent and what isn't, because it can be so misleading out there and it's so difficult as a consumer. If you're a consumer that's you want to go to the pub, you want to have a beer, you don't you have an passing interest in drinking beer. You're not interested in the industry. Like we'll all sort of sit around in the industry and talk about, like we'll do podcasts about it, and we'll talk about sort of how Heineken now own neck oil and whatever. If you're just a drinker, you want to go on the pub, neck oil looks like a craft beer to you. You think that's the kind of business I want to support, and
Yeah,
there's no way of you knowing that it isn't.
yeah. Until now,
Yeah, until now.
um,
So I think that's what's great about it is because it's kind of helping to break
differentiate.
a bit. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you think they're a bit unaware of the actual difficulties that you face as an independent brewery?
I think there's a general sense of it's tough for small business, but not specifically breweries or small hospitality venues or anything like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think generally people I think are understanding that it's difficult, but similarly, I think that you can quite easily. I mean, you could come to our tap room on a busy Saturday night and think, "Wow, this is this is great. They must be making loads of money," and there isn't a real understanding of how much it goes into producing that experience from the ingredient costs and energy costs, and then staffing it, making sure that you're investing in the equipment to do it and to make the beer to the quality that we want it to be, and everything else in there. I don't think there's a real understanding of quite how much goes into it behind the scenes.
Do you think it's quite important for a brewery to try and find themselves a tap room to sell their beer?
I mean, I'd say so, definitely. I think that we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are today without a tap room. I mean, we've been able to grow to where we are now without taking on any investment, and that's entirely because the tap room has been busy. It's been successful, and it's supported the brewery whilst the brewery side of the business has grown. And yeah, if anybody is out there thinking about starting a brewery, I couldn't recommend it enough. It can be a headache. It's another thing to worry about beyond the beer. But I think if you're starting off small, then it's something that's so important. And I think that if you're as a brewery only, all you're doing is brewing beer and selling it to the on trade or whatever, you've got to have some real volume going through in order to make it work. And I think if you're on the smaller side of things, it's just makes so much difference to be able to sell beer directly to people, and also to get the feedback from people to understand what people like and don't like.
Yeah,
Help that sort of shape your brewery and the beers you make to the
yeah.
community.
How you go forward and what styles you make in the future, and what ones you continue to improve. Yeah, it must be hard for a lot of independent breweries out there that haven't got their own tap room because they haven't got the space, and obviously probably can't afford to rent or to buy a place to use as their tap room. So yeah, it's a good bit of advice to people, anyone who's looking to start up a brewery. Make sure you've got the space to put in a tap room, I suppose, because that will essentially give you the funds to grow.
Yeah, I mean, we got quite lucky in that we found a unit when we first were starting the brewery. We found a unit that we liked the look of. We thought it was twice as big as we needed it, but we thought, you know what, the location's great. It's exactly what we want. Otherwise, let's go for it. And we'll just sort of put a curtain across the back when the tap room's open so it doesn't feel too empty and cavernous. And within the first sort of week or two, that space was full. And we were lucky that we didn't really expect it to be. And we got lucky by, I think, just taking a punt on it anyway. And it worked out. And if we had have gone for a much smaller unit, I think we'd have struggled to grown and struggled to have, you know, had a tap room as busy and with as nice a vibe as it was. So I'd say if you're looking now, go try and find a unit that's big enough, or twice as big as you want, as you think you want, and then find out how to fill it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you find a nice looking unit, think again, go bigger. that's the message we're getting across here.
Or if anyone's put some money down on the lease or anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the funding as well. Yeah, how did you go about all the funding and stuff? I mean, did you have money already to invest, or did you have to outsource?
So like I say, we haven't taken on any investment. So we set up kind of on a shoestring, really. But we had a bit of money saved, sort of just personal savings, and then I took out just a personal loan in order to sort of fund the shortfall as well. So yeah, just sort of loans and a bit of savings, and that's kind of what set us up. And then after that, it's just we were selling for the first until COVID, we were selling just into our own tap room. So it's really good for it was profitable for us. We didn't have to deliver it. We could just roll it around the back and it was there. So our costs were pretty low. We weren't really paying ourselves either. So we weren't making we were making money. We were able to just reinvest it back into growing the brewery, back into the tap room in order to grow that. And then it kind of just sort of went up from there, really. So yeah, and since then we've still, I guess, had a pretty similar approach in that we've borrowed money, or we've saved a bit of money to buy some equipment or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, how did you get on through COVID? Did you do anything to, obviously a lot of places were shut. Did you do? Were you still brewing beer, still able to meet them volumes to keep going? How did you get through it all?
I would say that it's weird to say it because it was the most difficult sort of time for hospitality in his lifetime. I think
nearly 5 years ago as well. It was crazy how quick it's gone.
But I look back on it in hindsight, and I think that sort of made our business. I think that really improved the business that we were and the brewery that we were, and it made us produce better beer and sell it to more customers. So our original plan was we had our tap room, and we were going to think, well, we'll just sell to that, maybe open another bar or a pub and just sell to that. We weren't going to can the beer. We weren't going to sell to the trade at all. And then over COVID, we were lucky enough. We had actually then decided we were going to can the beer. And we had bought a canning line, a small sort of knackered old canning line that didn't work at all. And as COVID hit, suddenly our entire income which was the tap room, was shut. And so then that really gave us the impetus to get the canning line working.
Yeah,
and we could actually, because there was such a scramble for mobile canners in the market, we were quite lucky in that we could do it all ourselves. And then start just driving. I was just out in the van, sort of, every night delivering to people. So we'd come in, we'd brew, we'd package a beer, finish it. We'd finish packaging it at sort of 4:00 maybe. Sam was just the two of us at the time. Sam would finish sort of clearing everything up. I'd load all the boxes in the back of the van and go out and drop it to everyone.
Commitment.
And suddenly it meant that where we are, Sturchley, the area, we used to only serve that community, and then suddenly we were delivering to all of South Birmingham, and so suddenly we had customers all over the south of the city. And then that meant that when everything sort of relaxed and reopened, then we had pubs picking up the phone and saying, "Look, we tried your beer, we really like it. Can we put some in? Can we try some?" And at that point we were kind of going, well, yeah, of course, that's like, we've got all this beer to sell. Let's sell it. And so it just it really helped grow grow our brand, I suppose, in sort of locally, in a way that we hadn't ever really planned to do. And then we're all the better for it now. So whilst it was a very difficult time, and there was points where we were, pretty close to losing the business, as I'm sure everybody was, we've come out with it sort of pretty well.
It's really, really good to hear a positive story from COVID, as well as it really affected breweries and a lot of them closed. It also really helped a lot of breweries to grow as a brand. Like you said, where they wouldn't think of doing canning, they had to do canning to, sell and grew as a business from it. It's really positive to hear that there was some good stories to come out of COVID for hospitality, which is nice. So what's next for Attic? Any exciting beers, events, collaborations coming up soon?
Yeah, so we're we've got a couple of exciting things. I'm really excited about later this month, we're releasing a new beer, which is sort of really really there to sort of try and challenge neck oil. I think I get fed up of seeing it on the taps everywhere. I think half the people in the world get fed up of seeing it on the taps everywhere, and I am really determined to try and knock it off as many taps as I possibly can. So we're
you and everyone else.
So we're producing a beer called Centro, which is kind of our Birmingham's answer to it. Is the idea, and it's like a bright, clear pale ale, not too crazy hot. So it's like a real nice sort of sit out in the sun, really refreshing, not like too much flavor, just sort of enough to be able to, what we want to do is try and draw people in from drinking. If they're a lager drinker and they're only lager drinker, just say, hey, look, come and try this. Like this, let's sort of start you on your craft beer journey a bit. Really excited about that. I think that'll be really good. I can't wait to get that out. It's in tank at the moment, and I'm raring to go on that.
And just finished off a collaboration with Thornbridge. I was seeing.
Yeah, so that's really, really exciting. Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to work with a brewery of that caliber is amazing. It's just really exciting to be able to produce a badge. We've been up there and done a collab before, but to be able for us to be able to produce a badge or can which has Thornbridge logo on it, it's really exciting. So that'll be due in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. So where do you see Attic Brew Co going in the next 5 years? I mean, what's your ambitions for the next 5 years?
So, like I said, we've focused almost entirely to date on Birmingham. I guess our sort of a broader goal is to be sort of the kind of go-to brewery in the West Midlands. So that is for local people. Want everyone to know us and really identify with us and really love drinking our beer, but also for them to be able to go and visit a mate in Bristol or in Manchester or Leeds and see an Attic beer on the tap and say, that's from where I'm from. That's mine, and be proud of us. So a big part of that is then to try and expand a bit further. So we're this year trying to focus a bit more on sending a bit more beer down south, down to sort of Bristol, across to London. So we're hoping for a good bit of uptake there, which will be great. And then it just sort of it starts to spread the brand a bit, and really, hopefully, I mean, Birmingham tends to get a bit of a bad rep, and as somebody that grew up not in Birmingham, I'd never been to Birmingham, and that was my view of it. I thought it was just like a not very nice place to be, not a great city. And having moved here, started the business here, it's an absolutely awesome city. I absolutely love it, and I want us to be able to present to the rest of the country how good it is. I would encourage anyone to get the train into Birmingham New Street, and then get on the train to Bourneville. That is right next to our tap room, and then you can come for a beer with us. Then walk up into Sturchley, spend a whole Saturday. You can go to 3 different breweries, loads of great bars, some amazing places to eat. It's such a great day out to come and just like hit up some really great beer, some great food. I would really encourage anybody to give it a go for a Saturday. And it's very easy to get to on the train as well, so no one's got any excuses.
Sounds like a deal breaker to me. We're going to finish things off, but before we let you go, if there was one beer style you could drink for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
That is such a difficult question. I know you told me you were going to ask me this question, and it's kind. I mean, it's kind of the whole point, the whole magic of beer, the whole reason that all of us like beer is that there isn't just one style.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked the question, because it's such a hard question to answer.
Which you're really mean. Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously that being my huge caveat, and I don't really think there is a style suited to every occasion. I think I would probably, in my heart of hearts, I would say if I could only drink one beer style for the rest of my life, probably to pick bitter.
That's surprising. I thought you was going to go for a pale or an IPA.
I wonder if it's just because I'm just kind of into it at the moment. I haven't really given it enough thought. But yeah, I think, I don't know, there's just something about it that's just really comforting. And unless it's blazing hot sunshine, you've just been for a run, it kind of, it fits most times of the year. And I think that, I just think it's a great style. There's a reason that it's been going for so long. And I think it's just so drinkable and comforting and just enjoyable to sit at the pub and enjoy with friends. Might live to regret that in a year, but
we'll come back in a year and ask you the same question and see if it's still bitter. Everyone's style of beer changes, doesn't it, over the time? I mean, I was drinking lots of Dunkels at one point and just really just like Dunkels. Now I'm going back onto me hazy IPAs again. But is there anything else you'd like to leave our customers and your customers as well about Attic and any inspiring brewers out there that are looking to do exactly what you did all them years ago?
That's quite tough. I mean, if anyone's got any questions, do drop me an email. I think all my details are up on our website, so yeah, please do. I can't promise I'll get back to you immediately, but I will work my way through it. But yeah, so if anyone's got any thoughts on it and what does want to chat through any ideas, then please do get in touch. But yeah, generally I'd just say it's a very difficult industry to be in, but it's a really rewarding one, and people are always super helpful. I think that try and get a tap room that works well. Try and sort of position yourself in a place where there's a lot of people who live nearby that might be interested in coming and drinking your beer. I think that's a huge thing, and it really helps to get the ball rolling whilst you're waiting to whilst you're taking the time to build up the brand, which it does take time no matter what you do. It's great to have that there to sort of to lean back on. So I would say, yeah, certainly look at Taproom. And then and if anybody wants to come up to Birmingham and come for a beer, we've got 2 bars, one in Sturchley, one in the Brewery Quarter. Please come and visit, try out some beers, and come and see what else Birmingham's got to offer, because it really is a great city.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. Get yourself up to Attic Brew Co whenever you can. Oli, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm sure we'll catch up again soon. Thanks for coming on the show, and our customers will definitely be looking forward to trying some of your beers on our site soon. Thanks a lot for joining us. So yeah, join us back on the Monday. When is it? Monday the 21st. Is the next episode from here. So until then, thanks Oli for coming on the show.
Thank you, Martin.
And we'll see you again soon. Cheers.
Cheers.